Okay. Honorable Souls, I know you are not liberal, so and if you are liberal, it means I must ask my questions first. I can't have all liberal people coming at the same time. I'm joking, Honorable Souls.
Chair, can I request for the presentation by COT to be flighted again, please? I want to go to the transformation slide. I think it is slide number 9. Yeah, yes, that's the one. So just a disclaimer to all the leaders of the institution. The model of transformation that I seek to promote is one of balance rather than one of mere replacement. So when I see a celebration around the replacement of white people with black people, and that is considered transformation, I don't view it that way. For me, transformation should be a balance of all races, because we consider black, white, colored, and Indian as Africans in particular. So I go from that premise. So VC, do you agree that the current employment equity plan of your institution is racist towards coloreds and Indians?
Thank you very much. Chair, through you. No, I don't believe that it's racist towards coloreds and Indians, but is making efforts in making sure that there is a reasonable balance. We do use the National Economically Active Population kind of framework. And in the region where we are, there are limitations. But we totally agree that it's not, we do seek a balance, but it's not a matter of replacement. But when it comes to employment equity, of course, we do prioritize the prescription, the prescripts of the Employment Equity Act. So we do consider, that's why we count black employees and African, colored, and Indian.
Does UCT see Indians, coloreds, and whites as African?
So it's CUT.
CUT, sorry.
Yes, the Central University of Technology does see African, colored, Indian as one group.
As Africans?
Oh, as Africans,
yes,
as South Africans, yes.
As Africans, or let me put it this way, as Africans in particular.
Well, as South Africans, yes, as Africans, because they are from here, and we are redressing the imbalances of the past, and so we belong to one group.
Are you sure?
In actuality, in implementation, of course, across the country, it's different views when it comes to that. But we are trying to address it with that view of being equal, but others are more equal than others in terms of the employment equity demands and what's available in terms of the
Okay.
economically active population.
So would you agree that that thinking that you and I have is not reflected in your current policy?
It's not reflected as it is now.
Does that not mean the EE policy is a racist policy against coloreds and Indians?
I still maintain it's not. It's work in progress. The policy is not absolute. It guides. What ends up really proving our intentions are the actions.
Okay, so if you look at slide number 9, your slides show that black employees is Africans, coloreds, and Indians. So in other words, 81.6% should be for black people. We should see an increase in black people. And that black people should be an increase in African, colored, and Indian, correct?
Well, by category, you will see that there are increases for each category compared to the target for each year.
Before we get to the targets, let's agree on the principle first. So 81.6% should be an increase for black employees. And the understanding is that black employees is African, colored, and Indian. So we should see an increase in all three those subcategories of black people.
Correct.
Correct. Now, how is it that for coloreds and Indians combined, it is only 7% representation?
So, I mean, as I've mentioned through you, Chair, again, the National Economic Active Population framework that we are using.
Yes,
that's
we've
what
already
we are
agreed
to-
on.
Yes.
We've already agreed that we don't think it reflects the reality that you and I agree on.
Yep.
But then you take a different route when I ask you, don't you think then it's racist? You say it's not. So now we're delving into it to say that how do you then explain coloreds and Indians are considered black, but in the black percentage, those black people only represent 7%. How do you explain that? Are coloreds and Indians a different black race?
No.
So
through you, Chair.
they're the same black as African.
In terms of, the employment equity and what we're looking to cover as part of our targets, we look at each subcategory, even if they are all under the main category of black, and the increases happen per category.
We'll go category by category now.
Yes.
I want to understand, you're saying that they are the same black. Yes or no? Are they the same black?
Well, they are counted under black, but the numbers are not the same.
So
They
when
are
you say to me in jest that they are counted under black, which you are aware I can see, I'm not sure why you did that now, because my approach with you is in an understanding posture, but you are moving away from that. I'll overlook it for now. So I do see that coloreds and Indians are counted as black,
Yes.
but they only represent as black. They only represent 7% together. Why? Because if they are the same black, then there should have been an equal split to amount to 81.6%. Unless you define them as a different black.
Chair, if I may, through you, I don't think it's really a matter of, looking at the race as such, but it's where are we recruiting people from and who is interested in coming to work at CUT.
You know what you're saying now? You're
Because we
saying
do have people, we do have them, as you see, but they just constitute a smaller percentage.
are you
Yes, we
saying the
agree.
reason why it's a smaller percentage is because they don't want to come?
That may be, there may be
No, no,
many
no, no,
reasons
no.
that,
You're very confident in saying it's not racist. You're very confident in saying that even though it's 7%, they are still black. But now you can't start saying maybe they're not interested. You should know that the reason why it's 7%, it's either because they're not interested or they are. Are you saying that the reason why it's 7% representation is because coloreds and Indians are not interested?
no.
Okay.
I still stand by the fact that the university is not racist in terms of our targets. It's a matter of who we recruit and who accepts and ends up.
Yes, and
taking
who
the
you
job.
recruit is 7% of coloreds and Indians. Why? Why 7%?
That's the pool that applies and ends up getting to take the job. But it's not for lack of attempts to.
So I'm going to repeat again.
look
You are
at
saying the
everyone.
reason why there's 7% is because the pool of coloreds and Indian that applies is that percentage. That's what you're
No,
saying.
it's not that percentage. It's just a matter of who ends up
Who
getting
you
the
take.
job. Yes.
Who you take. Right?
Well, who qualifies and.
All right,
and the
but who you
interest,
take
yes,
ultimately.
There are criteria, yes.
Who you take. So the amount that you took is 7% of coloreds and Indians.
We've never been in a situation where we've had to refuse Indian or colored eligible people that we are recruiting. So I would
Okay.
say we only take 7%.
Okay, we're going to go deeper now. It would have been much easier if you looked at it in the way that it's reflected there. Based on your reasoning, whites are not black, right? Based on your policy. Whites are not black, correct?
That's correct. It's not just on
Please
my
speak in the
reasoning,
mic,
it's how
VC.
it is.
Just move the mic closer if you don't mind.
Okay.
You're saying white is not black?
No, they don't fall under the black category for employment equity.
Okay. So for employment
the female.
equity, okay, for employment equity, white females
Yes.
are considered previously disadvantaged, but white males are not, right?
Correct.
Meaning, Indians and coloreds are also considered previously disadvantaged. That's why they are considered black, correct?
Correct.
Meaning, white males should be less than colored and Indian because they are the same black as what is considered black, correct?
Not necessarily. It's a legacy issue, where the institution comes from, what the majority of the employees were, and as employees vacate, then in terms of our recruitment, we consider employment equity targets, and then we will make sure that, we make sure that we address those disparities.
Okay, that's a very smart answer, but your presentation doesn't show that. Your presentation shows that the red part shows the target, correct?
Yes.
If that's the case, then your target for white male is 5%. In other words, what you're saying to us is you are intentionally saying that you seek to recruit and employ, you target to employ 5% white people. Nothing to do with legacy, nothing to do with none of that. It's your intention, is that correct?
Yes, that's a target for 2025, and
Thank
then the
you.
actual, that's where it is at the moment.
Thank you, VC. Thank you for not saying not necessarily. It's a direct yes, meaning it's not legacy. Now, according to your policy, white males are not previously disadvantaged. They're not considered black. Coloreds and Indians are considered black. Yet, you target 5% of white male recruitment and colored recruitment, male, colored male, you target 2.2%. Indian male, you target 0.4%, 0.4%. Why?
Again, Honorable Member, this has a lot to do with the baseline from which we are starting. And,
That's not true.
and why,
VC.
yes, there were times when you really didn't have
VC.
as many Indian.
This is how
males.
this happens. Let's
Yes.
make it simple for the country.
Yes.
Don't do that. Be simple for the country. You sit here and you say at the beginning of the year, how much white people do we target to employ? Then you say, white people, 5%. That's how it happens. Forget baseline, forget none of that. Then you come to colored people and Indian people, you say for colored people, we target 2%. Then for Indian people, 0.4%. That's how this works.
Let me just enter. Please close the mic. Let me just assist the honorable souls. So what the Vice Chancellor is trying to say is that the university has got 2,000 employees. I'm making an example. And the target of African male, their target is 5%. The assumption will then come from the point that maybe let's go to numbers. From 2,000, I want to get to 5% in terms of real numbers. So I must count backwards quickly. So the university then would have 10% will be 200, 5% will be 100. So to get to 5%, they are saying by the end of this year, in order to address the transformation, we must move from 112, because it's 6.8%, 112 white males who are currently employed to 100, which is 5%. So they are not saying, that's why when she says it comes from a baseline, it's a baseline of what's currently there of 112 employees. And if they reach their targets, they would have reduced from 112 employees to 100 employees. So that is what the graph is saying. And then you go to the colored male, their target is 2.2%. So they look at this year, if we are to fill all our vacant posts, how many will there be? So they look at the approved budget, the approved structure. Then they say the maximum number of people we can hire this year in this institution with this budget is 20 people. And out of these 20 people, in order for us to move from 1.8% to 2.2%, we'll have to hire, let's say, 6 colored males, which is slightly more than 27, 28% of those who will be recruited that year. So the target of going to 2.2% is not, it does not compare to the target of 5%, because if all of those targets are reached or are met, then there would have been more colored males who are hired than in fact, these white males will be fired or will be retired. Some of them, natural, others resigned and all of that. So there will be no, in essence, if you look at that, they are saying this financial year, they will not be hiring any white male. In fact, if an opportunity arises, they want to substitute, which is a point we were making earlier on. about substituting and all of that. And if you look at others, where your issue is, I thought maybe if you were to pin them quickly, we'll go to the colored female and say your target is less than your actual. Why then do you have that situation? But on the colored male, the Indian male, the white male, it's not really, in fact, the same argument on the African female. They are simply saying, if a chance arises, they are not going to hire an African female, which was also part of those who were affected. So the argument which you should have made properly would have been on the colored female, Indian female and all of that. But if you white male, white female, African female and all of that, those ones are not augmenting your argument on the point you are trying to raise, because she's right when she says it has a baseline. The baseline there is that the white male would be 5%. It will look on paper, if you start afresh today, it will look like you want more white males than colored males. But that is not what the picture is saying. The picture is saying you are moving from 6.8, the target is 5%, you are regressing. Then there you are moving from 1.8 to 2.2%, you are increasing. And the argument might be, we can't move from 1.8 to 4.8 because to get 4.8, we will need to hire more colored males than available positions. Because then you'll have to look at the global picture of how many staff members you have, how many vacancies you have. So I thought I must just enter there so that we're able to move away from because I think we're just dealing with semantics without necessarily finishing the point. Your mic is off.
Yeah, you see, Chair, I will still believe that you are a very neutral person, despite your contribution now. I've listened very carefully, and I want to submit to you that I maintain my position. If I have to consider what you have said, then I would just merely, if it's a matter of semantics, say you choose to retain more. You see? It comes to the same conclusion. So I'm addressing the fact that colored males and Indian males are previously disadvantaged. If you want to increase, if you are intentional about wanting to increase job opportunities for colored males and Indian males, you will then even increase the percentage to then take from African males. That is at the target is 37%, and the actual is 33%. Do we agree, Chair? Chair, now you must use the mic.
No. My argument is that when you can only have 20 positions that you can advertise this year, out of 2,000, it is what, 0.1%. So there can only be an increase of 0.1% at that institution. Removing more from African males and white males, for an example, might not necessarily address it. It might mean that they might need to fire people who still have contracts. So the assumption or the benefit of doubt that we're giving them is that they arrived at the target, having looked at, one, the number of people who are reaching 65 years this year. So there will be 1.8% from the white and all of, so the assumption comes from that. But, to then say, maybe let's move, like for an example, the African female, they've got more than the target. The target is 40.9 from 41.6. So the assumption will be, because they've got 40.9%, and maybe it's 2 or 3 people that need to vacate, maybe it's because some of them are retiring this year. So they've put that, the assumption should come from, they would have done a proper assessment to say, to get to 40 point, we're not thumb-sucking the number. To get to that point, it's because we've got 3 people here who are retiring, who are African female. So in order for us to get to 40, and if somebody else dies, unless if they say the target was also putting in people thinking they're going to die, then it's a wrong calculation. But if they're saying they looked at the natural people who are going to retire, then it makes sense. You know, to say you have, out of 2,000, you have got 3 colored males. And then you are saying 2.2%, it's too low. Let's move it to 10. It will mean that from 3 out of 2,000, so 10% will be 20. So it means all 17, at least 17 positions that will be filled this year must go to African males because we want to put it to 10%. So that is what, but it's 17 out of how much is funded for this year. It might be 10, so it might not get to that point. So I was saying that's the point of, I think, they were trying to make about a baseline. We're moving from this point, but we can only get to this point. It might not be enough, and which I agree, but we must give them benefit of the doubt or ask them to explain how do they get to 2.2, and in terms of numbers, what does it mean?
Chair,
and I'm very...
I think it's best if I engage the CUT staff, because you are coming across as not being neutral, and you are explaining what the assumption should be, and you are justifying such action. And you know how personal this is to me, so it sort of, it touches me, because why is it so hard, even if we use your analogy of 10% and then all 17% or 17 new positions going for colored and Indian males? Why not? Do you see where I come from? Why is that such a tough thing to do when it comes to coloreds and Indians? So I maintain my disposition. If we look at the colored male target, 2.2%, using the defense that just came on your behalf, 1.8% is what you achieved. When the retaining of white males, the baseline is 5%, if we use your semantics, you then have 6.8% still there, which then directly, if I go by the analogy that has been used in your defense, which then it says, the 1% missing from that 2.2% target is in your retention of white males. You see, if I talk in reverse, it will bring us back to the same thing. Do you agree, VC?
Through you, Chair, no, I wouldn't say it's in that category of white male. A lot depends on really...
Please speak in the mic, VC.
Sorry, the pool that we have available to us and the eligibility of that pool. And I take the points in terms of us having to like really exercise more due diligence and think this over. And then part of what I said in the presentation is that there will be a meeting with the DOEL to go through the new targets that they've set. And that's also an opportunity for us and the Committee for the Employment Equity then really to assess this and how we've been performing. But as mentioned, really, it's basically on the basis of the legacy, the pool that we have before us, but we do actively look at each and every recruitment. We are so happy when we get diversity. Diversity is very important for us. When we have, diverse number of applicants, we scrutinize them because we are very much aware
We are
of the
going to
targets
test that
we
position
have.
now.
Yes.
I'm going slowly to a particular point. And we're going to practicalize it. Chairperson of Council, what is your race group? What's your race classification? Can't hear you, sir.
Indian.
You are an Indian South African and you're the chairperson of this council.
That's correct, yes.
How do you feel about Indians as a target combined being 7%?
Honorable member,
Sorry, 0.7%.
makes my answer even more difficult. Well, clearly, one would like to see a growth in the percentage split, skewed towards coloreds and Indians, but we come from a legacy situation, and that legacy situation is very real, as I understand it, and also the practicalities on the ground at CUT is quite different. For example, it's in a part of the country where, for example, Indians may not be as prevalent as in, say, Durban or Gauteng. So
You can't source them from Durban.
you could, if they apply.
Exactly, because we are in South Africa. When you make these job adverts, you don't limit it to that province. It's South Africa, right? And so anybody can apply. So let me rather ask it like this here. Just yes or no, are you okay with that? Are you okay with the institution's commitment to recruit that target for Indian males and females?
So if I look at the target there, it's 0.4%.
Yes.
Um,
0.4%.
yeah. Am I reading it correct?
You're reading it correct, sir.
Okay.
And then the Indian female
Yeah.
is also 0.4 as a target.
I think for the current year, it's perhaps the best we can do. But certainly going forward, I think there needs to be a deliberate attempt to transform those statistics.
Would you agree there's not been a deliberate attempt to do so up to this point?
I can't say, Honorable Member, because I'm relatively new to council.
Okay, but for the record, you're not okay with that?
Well, I don't think that anyone could be okay with any kind of statistic, except to say that.
No,
it
the
should-
VC is okay. The VC is considering it okay, and it's based on the baseline, it's based on what's available. So there are people that can be okay with it. Are you, as the chairperson of council?
I'll answer you this way, Honorable Member. I'd like to see some kind of increase in the statistics.
So you're
as
not
we go
okay,
forward.
Chair? You're not okay with it?
It's a low target.
You're not okay with it?
No, I think it needs to improve.
You're not okay with it?
No.
Thank you, Chairperson. VC, do you agree that the current EE plan chooses foreigners above South Africans?
It's not choosing foreigners over South Africans. It's about also factoring our internationalization efforts. And we've got a 10% cap, as you would know. It's not a matter of choosing South Africans, foreigners over South Africans. It's
So your
really-
answer is no.
My answer is I don't think
Is
We
that a
are-
no, a yes?
No.
No. All right. Let's look at slide number 10. Let's just look at the engineering, build, environment, and IT section. Colored male, Indian male. Chairperson of council, look at that there. 1.0% is permanent academic staff. No Indian female there in that entire faculty. Colored male, 1.6%. No colored female there. Foreigners, altogether, both foreign female and male, 15%. VC, colored males, Indian males, and females are South Africans. You have in that faculty alone, combined, 2%. If you round it off, let's say 4%. Foreign nationals, 15%. What is the reason for that?
Honorable Member, the common reason really for it is about the skills, the internationalization plan, and the readiness to come and work within CUT or the Free State. It's really the pool that we are recruiting from.
So-
I dread the fact that I'll keep repeating the same thing, but we do not dismiss our internationalization policy and the targets there.
You know, I wish you would just be honest, VC, but it's okay. We'll continue. Do you know Professor Noluntu Mpekwa?
I haven't met her directly, yes.
Actually, it's Professor, Doctor.
Yes.
She holds a BTech, a MTech, and a PhD. Very brilliant black South African female in this country. Do you know that in 2024 she applied for the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, both Environment and Information Technology? Do you know of that?
In 2019?
2024.
Oh, last year, yes.
You do know?
Yes.
Do you confirm that this black African highly qualified professional met the requirements of this position?
The minimum requirement.
Do you agree, do you confirm that she fulfilled the requirements?
Yes, she fulfilled the minimum requirements.
Do you confirm that she was shortlisted and interviewed?
Yes,
Could you kindly tell the country who ended up getting the job? Was it a South African or was it a foreigner?
it was an internal candidate who is a foreign national.
Sorry, BC?
A foreign national female internal candidate.
Is that a scarce skill? The dean of the faculty?
In STEM-related issues, it can be a scarce
In
skill.
in this instance, I'm putting before you a highly qualified South African black female professional who qualifies. In this instance, that's not a scarce skill because you have someone that can fill the position who is South African. A foreign national was given the position over and above this person.
If I may also answer this, that process was opened twice, precisely also because of the pool of applicants that we had, where we wanted to make sure there is enough diversity in terms of female representation, South Africans, and
No, VC,
especially also because
you
of
see,
the
I've been
kind
very
of
patient with
faculty.
you, and I've allowed you to patronize me on many occasions. This time, I'm not going to allow it. What you have here is the position of dean is open. There is a South African black female who has applied and who is qualified. She holds a doctorate. She qualifies for that position. She doesn't get it. The person who gets it is a foreign national. That is not a scarce skill. The law requires that the only time you can do what you did is if it is a scarce skill. You disregarded, your institution disregarded a black female professional. There's no way around that. And whether you believe it or like it or not, CUT appears to be favoring foreign nationals above South Africans, even if they are qualified. And that's what that same stat in that faculty speaks to, of 15% of foreign nationals. And when we go there, even in your other slides, when you speak about junior lecturers and all of that kind of stuff, we will see how South Africans are lesser numbered than foreign nationals. In practicality, I urge you, VC, as we go further, that we see this problem and we take accountability for it, rather than explaining it away. This highly qualified female South African has been disadvantaged, intentionally so. And according to our laws, she should have been the person. Not preference, I don't know her. We just did research. But based on the law, what the institution has done is disadvantage her. The Department of Higher Education, did you approve this, the appointment of a foreign national over a South African?
Chair, we are also surprised.
Kindly speak in the mic.
Yes, I'm speaking to my mic. I say
couldn't
we
hear,
are
sorry.
also we are also surprised. Ordinarily, the university would have written to us, particularly to give us notice that they are making that appointment for visa purposes. We didn't get that letter.
VC, kindly explain.
Chair, I think as I mentioned through the chair, honorable member, the candidate was an internal candidate that already has...
VC, are you listening to what the department is saying? There's a particular process. If you want to do what you did, you must inform the department you didn't.
No, that wasn't done, as far as I know.
We just heard that wasn't done. You didn't do it. The entire procedure was wrong. You know why? I'll tell you why. VC, your institution favors foreign nationals over South African citizens, even if they hold PhDs. That's why. I'm going to continue. CFO. Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
CFO, is it true that a white male chartered accountant was first contracted as a consultant in your department?
Can you repeat again?
Is it true that a white male South African chartered accountant was first contracted as a consultant to the institution in finance?
In my division, yes.
Is it true that this contract as a consultant was extended for Mr. Kobus Fourie?
Yes.
Is it true that Mr. Kobus Fourie is now permanently employed as Director of Financial Reporting?
Incorrect. He's not a director. He's a manager.
What is his substantive role?
Manager financial reporting.
Sorry?
Manager financial reporting.
Oh, so it's just the director is not its manager.
He's not a director. He's
Give
a
me
manager.
give me the organogram. So you have manager, then you have director. There is a director of. Is there a director of financial reporting?
I've got director financial reporting. He's a female. Then I've got a manager
So
financial reporting.
Okay, so you have manager financial reporting,
Report to.
director financial reporting.
Yes.
And then you have
CFO.
CFO, all right. So Mr. Fourie, who was a consultant, who you contracted as a consultant, is now permanent manager of financial reporting, correct?
Yes, it does. Yeah, he met the requirements. Thank you.
I hope, Chair, that you heard that whilst you came in. This was not a retention now. This one was brought, and he's a white male. I don't have issue with white males. As a matter of fact, we're pushing to say we are all South Africans. But seeing that we are using this model, we are interrogating the process and how it affects Indians and coloreds. So, do you know the colored male assistant accountant by the name of Mr. Keenan Jacobs?
Yes. I work in finance.
He is the, just so I don't get it wrong again, because I was just doing research, I didn't speak to particular people, so I might get the designation wrong again. What is his, just now I say manager, then he's not manager. Is he the assistant accountant?
He's the assistant treasury accountant.
Assistant treasury accountant.
Yes.
And then on top of him,
There's a manager.
which one?
He report to the manager.
Oh, he reports to Mr. Fourie.
Yes.
And then, okay.
Yes.
Do you know the qualifications of Mr. Jacobs?
Definitely, yes, I know them. All of them.
Please share it with us.
You've got to be, you've got the MBA. He's a now qualified CA. You've got the ACCA.
He is a qualified chartered accountant.
Recently qualified as chartered accountant.
He has an MBA.
Recently, yes. You've got the MBA now.
He has a BCom.
You've got BCom accounting.
He holds a CIMA designation as a chartered global management accountant.
He does, yes.
And he's an assistant chartered management accountant. He holds that designation too.
He's an assistant treasury accountant.
No, the CIMA designation
Yes, Sima, yes.
as a assistant, the ACMA.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to. What qualifications does Mr. Fourie hold?
He's a CA, chartered accountant. You've got BCom, CTA, and it's a chartered accountant.
Does he have CIMA designation?
No.
Is he a chartered global
chartered.
management accountant?
Nope. He's a CA, chartered accountant.
Okay. You are the CFO.
Yep.
Are you a chartered accountant?
I'm not chartered accountant, I'm professional accountant.
You're not a chartered accountant.
Nope. I'm professional accountant.
So, Mr. Jacobs holds more qualifications than the CFO and the manager of financial reporting combined.
Not in that way.
Please explain.
It's equivalent.
It's the equivalent.
It's equivalent to NQF level 8, both of them.
Are you a chartered accountant, CFO?
I'm not a chartered accountant.
Sorry?
I'm not a chartered accountant, I'm a professional accountant.
Is that in your field? Is a chartered accountant? Are you the equivalent to a chartered accountant?
Yes, NQF level 8.
Are you 100% sure?
Yes.
For the record,
Yes.
you are a chartered accountant.
I'm not a chartered accountant. I'm professional accountant.
CFO, are you listening to yourself?
Yes.
Is professional accountant the same as chartered accountant in your field?
In terms of the level, yes.
No, in terms of what you can and cannot do. In your field, how are you recognized in your field?
Okay, let me just clarify for you. The chartered accountant, they can do audit, opinion. The professional accountant, they can't do that. CIMA, they can't do that.
Do you write exams to become a chartered accountant?
Yes.
Did you write the exam
Yes. For SAIPA, yes.
to be a chartered accountant? Sir, do you write exams to be a chartered accountant?
Yes.
Did you write the exam to be a chartered accountant?
I'm not a chartered accountant. I didn't write the exam for chartered accountant.
So you didn't write the exam.
I didn't write the exam for the chartered accountant. I wrote the
Therefore,
exam for
the-
SAIPA.
Therefore, you are not a chartered accountant.
I'm not chartered accountant.
You have to go and write the exam in order to be a chartered accountant.
If I want to be,
Yes. Now,
Yes. I don't want to be.
Mr. Jacobs did.
he did, yes.
He's a chartered accountant.
And he further to be a MBA as well.
I'm glad you're acknowledging even further. That's my point.
Yes.
And Mr. Jacobs, a colored South African male, is a treasury accountant assistant.
Yes.
And he has applied for this position of manager. The institution employed someone who was initially outsourced, contracted as a consultant, a white male chair. And this man, a colored male, who has written the exam to be a chartered accountant.
But I don't like when you say this man, colored, you point next to you. And when you say white male, you point next to me.
Because when I heard you speak, you tried to justify this thing.
No, I like it because at least it's actually something that will clarify the process.
There's no clarification
No,
here.
let me just take you through in terms of the recruitment and recruitment selection process.
CFO,
Yes.
you see, you have in your department a highly qualified person who was and is employed by your institution. A consultant that you brought in and extended his contract. You made and appointed as the manager. This colored man is overqualified. And he is an assistant accountant, an assistant treasury accountant. That to me cannot be explained. It's wrong. And yet he has applied for years. He has not been promoted at any given time. He is basically in a junior position with the BCom, with the MBA, and the rest of the global things that you just said is higher. Does he not deserve more?
I'm working on the succession plan for him to make sure that he's got the right skills in terms of work. In terms of the POPIA Act, I can't just mention all of it, but I'm working to make sure that I build him up to get everything right in terms of the skills for do the right job.
You have less than him, you are there as a CFO. That other guy has less than him, he's there as a manager. He must be built up with skill.
I can summarize for you, just to make sure that at least you understand what does he has.
I will never understand the reasoning for him holding a junior position with the qualifications that he has, and those above him with less qualifications than his. is occupying different positions. And even though he has applied, do you agree that he has applied?
He did apply
What made him unsuccessful?
with a lack of skills in terms of the of technical skills,
Wow.
compiling of financial statements. I can go further. It
Please
required
don't.
as well the experience in terms of managing people management.
How did you gain experience?
I've got almost 24 years working experience.
How did you get it? You had to get the position.
Yes,
This man is as an employee.
I'm working to make sure that succession
You
plan for
brought
him.
someone from outside. You brought someone who has come to consult with the institution, extended that person's contract, then appointed him. There's no justification for this. There's no explanation for this. You have somebody who has gone to the pinnacle of his field, and he's a junior in CUT. It's wrong on so many levels. That's the plan, Chair. Are you allowing her to? Yo. Chair, wat moet 'n boesman doen? Om gerecognized te word hier in die land. VC, is CUTUS officially liquidated?
Yes, Honorable Member.
CUT is 100% sole shareholder of CUTUS.
Yes, Honorable Member.
Is it true that the CUTUS board was dissolved and an interim board was appointed?
That's true.
Is it true that the interim board was constituted 100% of CUT executives and members of council?
That's correct.
Is that good corporate governance in terms of the Companies Act and King 4?
That's what council came to a resolution to do in the interim period as the liquidation
But is
process
that
was
right?
going.
Is that right? You have done something wrong earlier procedurally too, where unilaterally you appointed someone as a dean who's a foreign national and did not inform the Department of Education. You've done that intentionally. Now we're sitting with a situation where you represent an institution who's 100% shareholder of CUTUS, and council decides that you are a shareholder and you are the executive, or you are responsible for the subsidiary of CUTUS. That is not correct. It's not good corporate governance. Chairperson of council, were you there? When VC says the council did that, is it you she's referring to?
No, it was before my time, to the best of my knowledge, Honorable Member.
And when you came, you saw that?
Yeah, when I had joined, it was at the decision point to liquidate, so, and that's what happened subsequently.
Do we have the High Court order for?
Yes, it was a court application.
Do we have the order? Is it the liquidation order?
Yes, I don't have it with me now, but there was a liquidation court order, yes.
Court order.
Yeah.
So as we speak now, CUTUS is officially liquidated.
So,
The court has said you must liquidate. I just want to confirm that. The court
Yes.
said
yeah,
which you, for the record, is going to give us that court order. The court said you must liquidate. Is that what you're saying?
So the university brought an application to court through its attorneys to liquidate CUTUS. The matter was heard by a judge. The judge then agreed to issue the liquidation order, meaning that immediately at that point, a liquidator was appointed. The liquidator is now dealing with the liquidation process. It'll take at least 2 years or so before the final liquidation order is granted.
Before the final liquidation order is granted?
Yes, so you
But
get the
preliminary, so
Yeah.
that you can start the process.
That's correct.
So you are now in the process of taking the assets, paying creditors, that kind of thing.
That is a position, Honorable Member.
All right. CFO, are you the acting CEO of CUTUS?
I was an interim. Now it's done after the liquidation.
And that makes it right.
Okay,
And that makes it right.
it depends.
That makes it right. The fact that you are the CFO of the 100% shareholder who owns the subsidiary and you are the interim CEO. Is that not a conflict of interest?
None. There's no conflict.
Please explain that. You are the chief executive officer in the subsidiary and you are the chief financial officer in the holding, let's say, company. You are saying there's no conflict of interest. It's two separate legal personalities. So you make a decision here, and as the CEO, you execute it.
Why I'm saying there's no conflict, I'm not a member of the council on the other side as a shareholder. I've been seconded as an interim for the COTIS operation because we can't leave it vacant without interim.
It
That's why I
have-
said it was not conflict.
It didn't have to be vacant. It didn't have to be vacant.
I'm taking it through so that at least we clarify this issue to say conflict of interest.
Yes,
I
that's
said
what
there was
I'm.
no conflict of interest.
Both are executive positions.
Yes, you can do that as executive.
You can be the
Because the
CEO.
COTIS doesn't report to the management, it reports directly to the council.
You know, I'm not arguing with you. I'm accepting your submission. But I'm just asking you again, are you sure that what you're stating for the record,
I'm sure what I'm stating about on the record, yes.
it was correct of you to serve as CFO of CUT and interim CEO of CUTUS? It was correct.
I still said yes, it was correct.
All right. Is it true that CEO of CUTUS, is it true that you received 600 million award from the Community Safety Roads and Transport Department?
It's not true. There was no 600 million received.
What was the award from the department that was awarded to CUTUS CEO?
It's awarded to CUT. Not to COTIS.
CEO, are you stating for the record
Yes.
there was not a situation where CUTUS applied, the department awarded CUTUS, and then thereafter, CUT's intervention, the department withdrew from the award to CUTUS?
I'll give you the correct version of it.
Please.
CUT applied under the FEBIT, which we call a civil lab. FEBIT, the one that we were talking about.
Falls under which?
FEBIT is it's a faculty of engineering, building and environment and IT. applied through an experts that they have, civil lab, they put together in project management, the proposal that goes to the Department of Roads.
So QTS did not apply.
Didn't apply, doesn't even have even a document.
They don't
But
have
I'm
a
gonna,
document.
yes,
Chairperson, I put it to you.
yes.
I have a document from the department confirming QTS as the awardee and the retraction. I have the document. I shall supply that document and you should supply CEO the opposite. You must remember again, you are stating whatever you're stating for the record.
I need to clarify as well, just to go further. Here we talk about step by step, member. CUT and CUT FEBIT faculties, experts civil lab, applied, put together the proposal to the provincial government of Free State for road, for potholes patching. Because CUTIS is an enterprise subsidiary for university, will be becoming what do you call it? We call it project management in terms of administration work. When they appoint, in that instances, there was an issue in terms of appointment. It was supposed to come to CUT, not to the not to the project facilitators or project administrators.
So it did come to QTS initially.
Then
Don't lie now. You're already in the corner.
I'm
So
giving
speak the
you to
truth.
say where these original applications.
Do you know what
and
you
the, and
did?
the bid document.
This chair is not slow.
Yes.
It's no use you look at him. He heard what I heard.
Yeah.
At first you said QTS
It didn't apply.
didn't receive the award. Then you want to go step by step to make us now believe, as the project manager, it did initially, and then it was given to CUT. Is that your version now, your latest version?
I'm giving to say the project is for CUT, for FEBIT, and
Yes,
also I want
you have-
correctly to the CUT.
CUT,
And it's still running at the moment.
who did the
active.
department give the award to? Does the formal document say the initial ones? Does it say QTS or does it say CUT?
We have to check on
No,
that one
you
in
know.
department.
You were just confident now to say there's no documentation. I'm the one who said there is. Now you need to go check. And it's on record. And I gave you opportunity to confirm. Now I say to you that it has been given to QTS as your subsidiary, which you were the CFO of and the CEO of. It was given to QTS and then it was retracted by the department from QTS and then given to CUT.
I need to clarify that I was not even that I was not interim CEO by then.
You're right. I'm now speaking
Yes.
to you as the one.
I'm talking about the
I'm now
transition.
speaking to you as the
Yes.
one. Because now you are counting as the last CEO.
I agree with you.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. And you just spoke as such. And you lied. Almost done, Chair. CUT, interim CEO, is liquidated. Why is that announcement not on the official website? The qtis.co.za.
That's the work that liquidator does. They have to take over everything, website, everything, administration and so forth.
Instructed by
Liquidator is
who?
the one who have to announce,
Instructed by whom?
by the High Court.
No, the High Court can't tell him go to the website and tell the people.
I'm saying as it is, the liquidator, when appointed, take over everything and notify creditors, notify all stakeholders, notify everything through the liquidation process. Act.
Okay, CFO, the liquidator is now dealing with the creditors. The preferential creditors is the previous employees of QTIS, whom you are responsible for as CEO. How many employees lost their jobs?
We talk about 10.
It's actually 15, CFO. 15 people,
Some of the contract already expired.
but they lost their jobs. 15 people lost their jobs. How many people were still there when the liquidation, in this liquidation process? How many, is there still people there?
No one at the moment.
So how many did you retain as part of the liquidation process?
None at the moment.
You retained 4, CEO. Are you stating for the record that you did not retain 4?
Liquidator only asked for the contract for, it's for contract administrator just to get the contracts. It's on a basis of the hourly rate. And also,
How many people did you retain?
okay, let's just give this process so that at least we don't
The
want
question
to, I don't
is
want to
simple.
contradict ourselves here. Liquidator,
The question is simple, CFO. How many people did you retain that was working for QTIS, that is now working at CUT, now that there where you are the CFO?
no, we didn't retain anyone
Sure.
from the process, but however, I'm going to tell you what happened now.
Okay, let me
We-
rephrase.
yes.
Because my time is going. Is it okay? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm almost done. So can we just speed it up? How many people did you retain? My time is up. How many people did you retain?
CUT didn't retain anyone from the quotas on the contract of the quotas. But however,
Okay, how
those
many
who-
people that was at QTIS is now at CUT?
the one applied so far is only one who applied and get a post.
So
One
you,
at the moment.
you are 100% sure of that?
Yeah, unless maybe the others.
No, please.
I'm talking about for the post by HR, but I can confirm if the other position that they applied will get the positions.
Chair,
I don't want to
put it-
contradict ourselves on that.
I put it, it's 4. 6 was dismissed.
Hold on first. Where is the HR person? Are they not here?
Well, HR reports to me, Chair, but I'm not aware of any application from QTIS.
Then answer the question. How many were retained? Do you know?
No, I don't know, Chair.
Okay.
Okay. 6 was dismissed. You also don't know about that. Out of
Chair, we
10?
need to clarify to say when the liquidation comes into dismissed, their contract terminated. I think we need to get that right.
Yes, but it should be terminated 45 days after, and it wasn't. So I don't have time to go into that.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about contract terminated because that process wasn't followed in terms of the Insolvency Act. Yes? So therefore, I'm using the terms retained or dismissed. Then, out of the 6, you have one that is back now in finance as the CFO. Is it correct?
Yes,
And she worked for QTIS. and she's back, working now for CUT. The CEO, in the process of liquidation, she's removed or she's dismissed. The CFO of CUT, she's now employed in your department as CFO, one of them, correct?
All the employees for Kutis.
Okay, but is
No,
that
I just want to
person-
know. We want to give the right because I think I want to follow it right. All the employees for Kutis who work in Kutis, they are given opportunity to apply if there are vacancies for CUT.
And all of them has applied. And
All-
we're going to show you.
Yes.
We can put to you the applications.
All right.
So they all have applied. That's why I'm asking you not to do that. Out of that, because all of them obviously wants to be retained. They have no jobs. So all of them would apply. The liquidator is paying, out of the 4 that still remains, the liquidator is paying 2 salaries out of that 4. We're going to show that too. And then there are 2 that are not being given a cent. And they've begged you for the UIF certificates, and then you backdated the date of termination. We're going to show that too. And you know why I'm going to show it, Mr. CFO? Because the 2 that you are paying and the 2 that you are not paying, the 2 that you're not paying is the only 2 colored females that was part of that group. And we're going to show the email exchanges and how unfairly you are treating them and how arrogant you are in your expression to them when they are merely seeking to get back into work. There are vacancies that they qualify for. They are not considered. Because you control both sides. Chairperson, I would like to request these individuals that are negatively affected by how CUT is operating in EE and in terms of this liquidation process, that we look deeper into it and ensure that there is fair treatment, just like the CEO/CFO is doing with the rest of affected staff. They must do the same with the colored complement of the staff. Please, Chair. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Maseko, you had one more question that you wanted.
It's just not a question, Chair. I just don't want the CFO to leave this house trying to patronize us by the issue of the chartered accountant and a professional accountant, because chartered accountant is specializing and the professional accounting is a general name without expertise. So don't patronize us when you respond to the questions to make us look as if we don't know what we are talking about. It's one thing that it's a committee we don't like because there's a perception politicians, they know nothing. And today you just have proven that by trying to, because I can graduate last year as an accountant. I'm a professional accountant. So don't ever do that to us. So I think with due respect, throw it to us, we'll throw it back to you. Chair, that's all that I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Maybe I must just say here, I've asked what is the difference between SAIPA and SAICA. And it says SAICA, which is South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, and SAIPA, which is the South African Institute of Professional Accountants, are both professional accountancy organizations, which is called PAOs in South Africa. SAICA, which is a body for chartered accountants, It focuses on chartered accountants, and SAIPA focuses on professional accountants. SAICA members, typically CAs, often work in audit, tax, and financial management, while SAIPA members, typically PAs, often work in accounting, tax, and advisory services. Key differences would be SAICA focuses on chartered accountant, highly respected qualification, often specializing in audit, tax, and financial statements. SAIPA focuses on professional accountants with a broader scope, including accounting, tax, and advisory services. If you look at these things, I think without necessarily playing the devil's advocate, but the CFO was not necessarily wrong to say that they are both professional accountants. It's just that they are specialized in different directions. This one that SAICA that deals with. So if you are a SAICA accredited or a chartered accountant, you have a right, or you can be mandated to deal with financial statements. Whereas when you're a professional accountant, you can't. So those are the only difference. I think I must just, it's what, we can Google it, it will tell you.
Yes, Chair, may I also add that
Yeah.
you should include SEMA as well?
No, that's a different one.
But I'm trying to say, if you're going to
No.
measure
No.
remember the point I wanted to make was
No,
the
no,
qualification.
I was not responding to you. That is a separate matter. Here I was talking about a matter that SAICA is, in order for you to be, if you are SAICA, you are above, what is this? SAIPA. I was just responding to that. Let's leave other qualifications. They are not necessarily related to these two. I'm responding to the issue of professional accountants and chartered accountants. That's the difference I was. You are 100% when you talk about other qualifications over and above, like a master's. I mean, you can't run away from those ones.
Yes, just to make the point so that we don't move away from the point that we were making, is that you have this highly qualified person in a junior position.
That is not the point I'm addressing.
But that's the point I was trying to address with that.
No, I was not responding to you. That's what I was saying to you.
You are indirectly responding to me, Chair.
No, I was responding to what Honorable Maseko just said. So that's what I was telling you earlier on, that.
But we must just be sure that it doesn't move away
No,
from the
no.
point that I was making.
Honorable Souls, let's not do that. I'm addressing, I said to you, we must not only be saying we're fair, we must be seen to be fair. When a point is made, which may not be correct, we must address it, that particular point. The point that I did not interject when you were asking that question, because I did not have any issue to address with that, with the qualifications as far as that is concerned. So that is the first point I wanted to address. The second point, CFO, that I want to address is that earlier on when we opened the meeting, we said to you, when somebody asks you a question, because we come from constituencies, we don't live in heaven or hell. When we ask you questions, it's because we know. We're asking you questions that we know. I actually had to, just to confirm what Honorable Souls was saying, to put in my AirPod and listen to verify if he heard incorrectly or you tried to mislead us. And not on one occasion, not on two occasions, but on 3 occasions, you tried to mislead us here, which is not something that we appreciate, because you see, it's 5:30. it's very late. We've been here from very early in the morning. Some of us to get here were stuck for 1 hour in traffic. Because moving from the north, coming this way is bad in the morning. So we're very tired. And when we get here, when we ask you a simple question, point X, Y, or Z, you say A. And when the facts are being put before you, on point X, Y, and Z, you say, no, I did not say A. I might have said anything between X and Y. It does not assist. No, don't respond. Because you are going to force us to use Section 17, subsection 2 of the Powers, Privileges, and Immunities Act, which punishes people who willingly mislead us. We've always said it, we don't want to be, so the church I used to go to, I grew up in a church, so the church I used to go to, when a pastor speaks, people there, they second. I don't like it because it reminds me of that church. So when I'm saying something, whether you agree or not, don't say yes or no, because it disturbs me. It reminds me of that church I grew up. So I would really like to ask that we don't even though you may want to agree with what I'm saying, but let's just listen, because there's many things that you would have said I would have wanted to also confirm. You see, we are continuing. I think I'll get to them. So we don't want to use this section, subsection 2, but every time it's as if we're pushed to a point where we must use it. You know, we came in peace because we want, even when we started, our spirit was try and reconcile, find ways of working together. Where there are problems, let's try and fix. That was our initial spirit. But when the meeting continues, you can tell we keep on pushing each other to a point we don't want to. I will get to my few questions. I don't have a lot. President, is there a point of exigence?
No, Chair. It's a clarity-seeking question, Chair.
On what?
On the matter that you're discussing. Because some of us, all these terms that you are mentioning, they are putting us in a state of confusion. So I just want to understand, to say, the current CFO that we have, does he qualify or does he not qualify to be the CFO?
Okay, it's fine. We have not seen the advert, which should have been advertised by the institution to say they would have wanted to have CFO. You continue with the year. So we don't have that advert. It's something that we'll get. I do have few questions. I'm pleading that council, management, when we ask you a question, let's try by all means to be, we don't want to waste a lot of time. It's already late. Mama Sego must go cook. So we don't want, to take a lot of time. We do have tea outside. Those of you who, I told you at least here in Parliament will give you tea. Just as a sign to show you that, we're not fighting. On governance, Chair, I've made this point even when I was at CUT, the issue of the statue. And I'll bring it to you as well after I've asked them, because I'm not convinced. I must be honest. I want you to convince me on this thing. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background. I'll ask you, Chair, Deputy Chair, and Council Member. I want you to take me through the thinking of Council. So, you as Council has amended the 2017 institutional statute. One of the amendments includes Section 53 relating to the terms of office of the Vice Chancellor and Principal, the Deputy Vice Chancellors, Register and other appointees designated as executive management by Council. So you change that statute. Section 53(1) of the 2017 institutional statute provided that the Vice Chancellor and Principal, Deputy Chancellors, Deputy Vice Chancellors, Register and other appointees designated as executive management by Council for such a period as agreed upon in their contracts, but not for a period exceeding 5 years. The contracts are renewable on expiry for one additional term, not exceeding 5 years, based on the institutional criteria as determined by the Council. So far it makes sense, it's what we've agreed on. However, your new institutional statute of the university was published in the Government Gazette, dated 14 February, it was on Valentine's, Maseko. We were sitting with the SIU when I saw that Gazette. It was on the 14th of February, also receiving issues of problems with the SIU in our institutions. I saw it and immediately I was shocked, DDG, which repealed, this one now repealed the 2017 statute. You had Section 63, Council to appoint a registrar. Section 63(1), Council must appoint a registrar as contemplated in the Act after consultation with IF. Section 63(2), the register holds a 5-year performance-based term. And then it says there's no limit to the number of terms. Council members, what necessitated the amendment of the term of the register, the term of office of the register from a period not exceeding 5 years and renewable on expiry for one additional term, to not exceeding 5 years to a limitless term?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, at the time I was brand new to council and I didn't have the history to the matter. I'm here with 3 other councillors, including the Deputy Chair, and perhaps they would like to respond more directly to you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair of Council. Thank you very much, Chair of the Portfolio Committee. Chair, just to put it in perspective, I think members who are here who belong to the EXCO fairly understand so that Council has given a mandate to EXCO to finalize and go deeper into this matter of the concern from Nehau on that particular article in the statute. You must remember, Chair, that not necessarily that always in any unison, like EXCO, everybody will agree the same. I think recently in the EXCO, where we are trying to respond to the concerns of Nehau, I fairly expressed my concern to say, what is ideal is that we are stakeholders and we need to build bridges between us, you know, in the case of, as the institution, and the stakeholdership of the union. However, I think membership took a view, obviously with here and there advice from other members of EXCO who are quite learned in the field of law to say, we take it for now, anything shall be read in conjunction with what read with another one in terms of, higher orders of the law. But we say, let's keep it simplistic to say, the union is saying it will take this to the highest point if there's still to be a debate. Hence, one is not surprised where the union is saying the response of council is quite mean and appalling. I will agree as such. But I mean, Chair, in a unison, you'll always have to be dissenting. But if you avoid dissension, you'll always say, let us really create bridges. So Chair, this is, my supposition is that it's the work in progress. So seeing that we learned today that the union is robust to say, we are not going to respond to yourselves. We are going back to our basics to say, we'll go to the apex of argument here. And for that particular matter, it means when we leave here, we'll always have to regroup as ESCO to say, let us look at the previous minutes where we said it cannot eventually be the case of we will deal with this matter when we cross the bridge, because the union is going to be quite angry, and one can get a feel that indeed the union finds this to be a slap in the face. And for that particular matter, I'm not just by myself, my members are here, they can express their tone. I will express it as such, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, you know me, I'm very patient. It's just that we don't have time. But I don't know which question you're answering, because that's not what I've asked. Let me repeat. I'm asking, what necessitated the amendment of the term of the office of the Vice Chancellor of the Register from a period not exceeding 5 years and renewable on expiry for one additional term to the new one, which say not exceeding 5 years to a limitless term? That's the decision that you colleagues took. Let's leave the engagement and how we say you took a decision to amend the institutional statute. And this is the point I'm just making on the term of office of the register from maximum 2 terms to limitless. What necessitated that decision as council?
Chairperson, I would like to be blunt there, but it looks like my fair colleague would like to interject.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, colleagues. Chair, just 3 points there to flag for you. One.
Yeah, let's reintroduce ourselves.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Sipiwe Hlongwane. The first point, when we had the opportunity between registrars, we realized that the sourcing and the pooling of the candidates was quite limited. So the availability of the talent across the industry proved to be quite a challenge for us. That was the first point. The second point that also was brought to us after conducting some benchmark, although most of the universities did not have such, there was probably an opportunity for us to better benchmark for CUT, noting that the universities within the Free State and the scarcity of moving talent there maybe would give the CUT an advantage for attracting talent. And then thirdly, sir, I think whilst the proviso is definitely no limit to the terms, but we also tightened it to ensure that after each term there must be a performance contract. So it reads to such an extent that it allows us to close the gap on talent sourcing and ensuring that we have a pipeline when we move individuals to the Bloemfontein space, they're able to move there with some certainty of us closing on the skills gap. So I hope that answers, Chair. Those were the 3 points that started to shift the discussion on that.
Yeah, let's go to the benchmark. So where did you benchmark?
You are asking in specifics, Chair, but from my memory, we benchmarked across a number of universities in South Africa. And I'm sure I can pull that out, but it was more than 15 universities. We got a sense that some were definitely not indefinite, few were definite, and we then had that debate to say how do we then position CUT to better attract future registrars.
So when you are benchmarking, you found in South Africa that there are universities that has limitless terms in South Africa.
If my memory serves me well, Chair, I don't think there's a lot of universities that have that. In fact, I think we are going to start a trend ourselves because having looked at CUT, we felt that this could be an opportunity to elevate this office and ensure that talent supply is not limited for the university.
So you see where I have a problem. So if I go into a meeting of the portfolio committee with these members and we take a decision, Honorable Sokikwa, to say we are going to summon Central University of Technology. If you ask me after 2 years, I'll tell you we were summoning them because of 1, 2, 3, 4, because I was part of that meeting. Now, the answer you are giving me, Councillor, that says there might be some, but all we were starting a trend, does not sit well with me because it's on the two sides of the spectrum. If it's either you are starting, you have agreed in council that we are unable to find anybody with this thing, let's start this thing because of our geographic location and all of that, the retention of the skill, whatever, you would know that part. Or if there were some, you'll also know and say, because we benchmarked and we found 2 in South Africa, you should also know that. So you are giving me 2 non-related answers, which makes it very difficult for me to then trust the answers that you are giving me, and I want to trust them. So please try and remember what would have necessitated cancel. It's something that you should have in your minutes. Council would have taken a decision, or this is the decision we're taking. Are you not remembering, Councillor?
Apologies, Chair, it was just my tardiness there because I didn't want to share information that was incorrect, but now I've got it in front of me.
Okay.
So the document that I have, 15 universities, of which, for example, Rhodes University registrar is appointed permanently. That was 1. We've got, should I list the universities for you? UJ Rhodes, Wits, UWC, Free State, Zululand, all the way through to Nelson Mandela, Stellenbosch, CPUT, NWU, Tshwane, TUT, UP, UCT, and to highlight maybe on the UCT side, permanent with annual performance reviews included, and then Forte, determined by council. So it was a benchmark across all those 15 universities that I've just flagged.
Yeah, so the decision to take to make this change is as a result that we have seen. So when you benchmark, let me tell you what is benchmarking. So when you benchmark, you say, as the department, we are going to Switzerland to study how their TVET system is working. And you look at the successful TVET colleges there, which have similar sort of arrangement with yourselves in this country. So you'll say, in South Africa, our TVET colleges are based in districts, for an example. You've got PE, TVET college, in the whole of PE, there's different campuses, or we've got one in Bloemfontein, Moteo, which is covering the entire region there, or district. We have Coalfields in Velcom, 1, 2 campuses, you know. So you then go to Switzerland, and when you get to Switzerland, they say, our TVET colleges offer courses based on, I just lost, based on geographic area. Oh, okay. And economic activity, for an example. So, in Lausanne, for an example, in Switzerland, they will say the language that is spoken here is French, or mostly they call it Swiss French. And the economic activity here in the Lausanne University of Technology is we're dealing with science because of, we're not far from, we're just, I mean, you can even see France when you're here, or transporting. So the education that we offer here is related to the economic activities that we have here. So when you come back, you don't then come and say, I want to do benchmarking. But your benchmarking is negative from what you've learned. What do you do benchmark? Because if you say, if you come here and say, in PE, where we have manufacturing hub of these German cars, we could be doing mechanical engineering. Our TVET colleges there should be concentrating on mechanical engineering and assembly, whatever the case may be. And then you come and say, no, in Lausanne, that's what they are doing. But because I want to benchmark it here in PE, where you've the economic activities, the motor industry, mechanical, and all of that, as the department, I want to teach agriculture. Does that fit the description of what is benchmarking? You can answer. Or does it make sense to say you went to do benchmarking, and benchmarking here where you went in Lausanne in Switzerland, this is the college, they teach this, which is aligned to the economic activity of this college. Then when you come here, you do exact opposite. Are you still in line with what you call benchmarking? What did you benchmark? You can answer.
I think, Chair, I'm feeling like you're answering, maybe you're asking a philosophical space in terms of our benchmarking exercise. So in your example, you definitely then need to look at, most importantly, at least in my head, also where we want to take CUT in 2030. So we also have a strategic vision in that benchmark to say, as you benchmark with Lausanne versus, if we want to become a future university of technology that's the best across the continent, what are those type of universities doing? So that also forms part of your benchmark. You don't only look at what you have, but you also look at where would you like to go to. So your question is double-sided. There's the now, and that's where you want to get to. And we want to be the best university of technology by 2030. So what are the good universities doing in South Africa, and what will make us more attractive? And that is then, having looked at the benchmark, how do you apply that?
So am I correct then to say that irrespective of what you found in the market, you are still going to take this decision?
No, Chair.
So what did you find in the market that made you to take this decision?
Thank you, Chair. So what we did find in the market, that whilst the majority of universities definitely have limits, we are starting to see a trend where this type of a position is becoming so critical to university that at least from a talent attraction, you may want to ensure that there's some certainty. Whilst you will wiggle that clause, you definitely want to make sure, though, that you don't get away with the power from council to be able to manage the registrar. So whilst the universities, definitely from a University of Technology, 5 years renewable, there may be final terms, other universities may be permanent. If you look at the university landscape, we wanted to also say, if we want to get to 2030, how do we become the best? And the registrar's office is critical to the function of the university. And we believe with all the debates that we've had, the thinking then shifted us to say, yes, it may have had a limit of 2 terms, but what could be the potential to attract future talent with a limitless contract subject, Chair, to performance management? Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, you're not, I'm not sure, maybe it's my English. General Aguirre, I come from a township school. My English sometimes vanishes, but you are not making sense to me. Because the argument that you are making can easily be made for the office of the Vice Chancellor. Can it easily be made for the office of the financial office, chief financial office. So you are not making a compelling case to say the reason why we decided, I mean, DVCs, the core business there would be teaching and learning. The case could easily be made that DVC, teaching and learning, let's make that limitless. That's what you are just brought. You are not telling me the reason why we decided as council on this decision was because of X, Y, and Z. I mean, if you say, for an example, roads is permanent, I can ask you, are you saying then roads, there's on registers responsibilities, there are no challenges? But you can't then say, we have decided because other universities are doing it, but what are the successes of such a decision? You can't say somebody has done something, Linda can do it. It does not make sense. You're not convincing me. And that's the point. We're going to close that. The issue of benchmark was never there. It's a decision you took. Was this decision, when did the chair, when were you appointed as the council? Mike, chair.
My apologies, Chairperson. I was appointed as an ordinary councillor in May last year.
Okay.
And on the 1st of November last year, I was appointed Chairperson of Council.
Okay. So you were there as a council member when this decision was started?
Right at the very tail end.
Oh, it started around May last year?
Yeah, I mean May.
And then you signed it this year?
No, the resolution was passed somewhere last year.
Yeah, or this somewhere November or May.
Yeah, but when I had joined, everything preceding the decision point had already been discussed and agreed upon generally by councillors, and so I didn't have really any contest except to say that, yes, I was present when the resolution was passed.
Okay, DDG. So they take this decision, you can switch off, they take this decision, which I'm yet to be convinced how it's a good decision. Then what is the process? Because the understanding is that it must move from them, go to the department must look at it, whatever, if you have a legal team must look at it before you take it to the DG, it takes to the minister. What is the process and why did we not pick this thing up?
Yes, Chair, thanks. It comes to the department and the minister refers it to us, as in the technical team, to study it and make recommendations. And if we have questions, we send it back to the university. If we see no fault, it's then processed with a recommendation that it be supported. In the instance of this case, it did not raise eyebrows because the control is the performance assessment, the 5-year performance assessment. That's one. Two, the registrar position is not, in our view, the most contested position. And in many cases, it allows for continuity. It allows for continuity, particularly where you have and I will call it a new management. We engaged the VC and to get an assessment of, the filling of the posts as per the administrator's recommendations. And we just felt that to have some level of continuity, that post should be stabilized. It was subject to controls of a performance assessment, so it wasn't really a big issue for us. And that's where I'll leave it, Chair. The universities that do have it as permanent don't have controls. So at least in this case, the control was that 5-year assessment. I must indicate that on our side, at the same time, we hope to review the Act. And in the review of the Act, we were going to, the process is still current, we are hoping to motivate that KPIs also apply to council. In that way, you'd have that as a consistent, because as you know, all the Act says is that council members may not be renewed for more than 2 terms. So we felt that in those 2 terms, we would also have that performance assessment as part of a control. And that would enable us to, in other words, a 3rd layer of defense around governance in the institution. So to us, the concern, and we have raised this, would have been more if the VC was given a limited list or the DVCs. The registrar is lower than those 3 posts. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, so we had the administrator at VUT, Vaal University of Technology. And if you read the administrator's report, and I won't ask you what it says, I'm just going to tell you, but part of the problem as identified by the administrator there, the independent assessor. The independent assessor, when they gave to the administrator, they gave a report that says, if this institution is to move out of this problem, one of the reasons we must go and change is the permanent position of the register, Dr. Mokoena. I don't know if you have read it. I took a lot of time reading that problem. And when Prof. Ransbeck took over to deal with that particular independent assessor, there was just a problem of financial issues because the university was saying they don't have the finances to settle. It's part of the handover report to the new council or to the council that's ending now. If you go read that handover report. So it's not true that the registrar's office and Dr. Zingwa, it's not, it's not about, it's not us having a problem with an individual. It's a principled matter. That it's not true that the registrar's office is less contested. In fact, it can be the beginning or the end of an institution. When we are making an argument now, looking at your friends there from University of Limpopo, who are losing cases left, right, and center because they don't want to confess students with their degrees, from master's to PhD. That majority of those problems emanate from the registrar's department. Because even if you look at the cases that they try and make in court, well, so far I'm very happy with the High Court. They are just paying attention. That you can't claim this person was not registered properly when it was you in your registrar's office was doing. So it's not true that the registrar's office is less important. I disagree. Even if you can say it's less than the DVC's, probably in your organogram, but it's an extremely important office. And for me, sitting here, DDG, I still don't understand why did we agree. Or I'm failing to understand. Why did we, I mean, history should teach us that, it's just that I don't have the whole data that I can withdraw. Okay, let me ask council, because at least council member there remembers. This limitless term of the office of the registrar, does it cater for the DVCs and other appointees designated as executive management by council? If not, why not? NIR register full time, yeah, 5 years renewal for life. Does it apply to DVCs? Because it's the same, they're appointed by you guys. If not, why not?
Thank you, Chair. No, this is only just to the registrar's role. Why not? Back to discussing in view of the skill set of the registrar's role within CUT particularly. And also, Chair, I mean, whilst we're between conversations, having remembered that we recently had to fill the registrar's role, so we probably had some memory around that and how it felt. But secondly, it's one of those that we just felt from a continuity, rightfully so. So to answer your question and just to add some points to it. So it's only just to the direction.
Because you felt it was the correct thing to do. Okay. Felt. Okay. So you said there's no one from HR. It's only...
No, Chair, it's only me.
What is your position there?
Executive Director, Resources and Operations.
Oh,
HR
Executive
reports,
Director.
Yeah, HR reports to my portfolio.
No, you are the right person I'm looking for. Your executive, your current organizational structure, do you think it's fit for purpose?
Chair, it's a very difficult question to answer, but for now I'll say yes, but because now we are about to develop 2026 to 2030 strategy, I think it will give us an opportunity to review and make sure that the structure support the strategy for implementation purposes.
Okay, so the 2022 to 2024, or what, 2021 to 2025 was fit for purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. And this organizational structure, is it only administrative and not holistic?
It's holistic, Chair, because it includes DVC teaching and learning, and all the academics report to that portfolio, and DVC research and all those people report to that. So it's holistic.
And it's fit for purpose when your people are saying you've got 70% administrative staff and 30% academic.
Chair, I'm just talking about the structure. I mean, if you have to go into details in terms of the numbers of academic versus admin, that is not right, Chair. The core business of the university is academic, therefore one would expect a fairly balanced ratio, maybe 40-45, something like that. So we recognize that as a problem and something that will be fixed, Chair.
So what is fit for purpose?
In terms of the numbers, I think I'm saying in terms of the numbers, support visas academic, 55-45 normally, generally, is what many universities are. So I think ours is very skewed to have 70 against 30.
But how is that fit for people. You said it's fit for purpose.
I was just responding to the structure, Chair. I was not responding to the numbers. What you are talking about is just the numbers of academic vis-a-vis support staff. And I agree with you that those numbers are not correct, are not aligned. More so that higher institutions of learning are meant, the core business is academic, therefore we'll expect more numbers of an academic.
That's why I was asking, is it holistic or just administrative?
Okay.
I was specific.
No, Chair. So I think in principle I agree with you.
Okay. Some of your faculties, you have a high number of part-time staff than full-time staff members, which is not one sustainable or suitable even for the institution to depend largely on part-time employees. What plans do you have? And if it's not on you, if it's TVC teaching and then you must direct it there, what plans do we have to deal with this problem? Or maybe before we get there, TVC, how did you arrive at this point?
Thank you, Chair. I hope I'm not going to talk about 70-30 because it also has got impact on what is happening with faculties, because it tells that we have got more support staff and we have got few academic staff members. So with few academic staff members that we have, we cannot carry the load. Hence now you need part-time to assist the few academic staff that we have.
No, so you need part-time. How do you source them?
Okay, what we normally do, the faculties look at the vacant positions that they can use to source part-time lecturers.
Let's leave sourcing part-time.
Yes.
How do you source in lecturers?
The positions are advertised, and then the interviews are conducted, and then that's how they're appointed.
So you willingly source part-time and not full-time? It's a deliberate attempt. You sit down and say, let's go get 20 part-timers, part-time lecturers, and not 15 full-time. Take us through. That is, we want to understand this anomaly. How did you arrive there?
Okay. When the planning is done for the following year, so we look at the number of academic staff that can carry the load. And towards the end of the year, when you do that academic planning, you don't have the numbers of students at that time, because students register only in February of the following year. It's only then that the faculty can see whether there's, compared to the number of students that have registered, whether the academic staff, academic numbers are tallying with the new students.
Let's do this. Yeah. I told you we're a bit late now.
Yeah.
Usually I allow people to answer what I've not asked. But today I don't have that patience. So you can't say in November, October, when you are planning, you don't have the numbers. By that time, you and the department have agreed on enrollment targets. So you do have what we are going to be dealing with globally. So it's not true that you only get these numbers in February after students have registered. The reason why we have this process of submitting financials in October, having a discussion, finalizing, it's because you are planning for the following year.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. I think that's going to take us back to what we discussed earlier on about the number of students in the classroom versus what has been allocated to the classroom. Because when we do the timetable, that is why we're working on actual numbers. So it's one thing to have the target, but it's something else to enroll the students and allocate them the classrooms, not only the classrooms, but also the staff members to teach them. Okay, and then how we are addressing that, maybe I can talk strictly to that.
No,
If I may, Chair.
Now, hold on.
Okay.
We're not going to win on this one. You know, DDG, yesterday I was attending the Appropriations of Finance committee meeting, and Treasury says to us, the budget comes in February, but the MTBPS was presented by the minister in October, November. And after the MTBPS, between October and December, the, what do you call this thing of yours, where you force government to give you money? Is that where labor, what do you call it? The negotiations. What do you call it? Bargaining, yeah. Then the bargaining council meet in between. So in October, the minister then says we'll have 4.3% across all boards. And then they go labor, because they then lose a discussion with labor. The bargaining, they agree on 6%. Then in February, when the minister presents budget, we must then look for some money somewhere and all of that. So we told them even yesterday in the appropriation committee, that's a very bad planning. Why don't you move the bargaining before you put them MTBPS? I mean, that's a very simple thing to do, which on the 6th of May now, when the DORA is debated in Parliament, is part of what we are going to agree. So I don't agree with, just like yesterday, we did not agree with the it's poor planning. It's poor planning. So the issue of projections can't be from nowhere. You say, we're likely to have 112 students doing Maths 1. From where? Where do you get it? And you say maybe in Velgong, when the feeding schools, matriculants there, none of them produce above 20 students with 60% and above. Why are you going to get 120? So you can't, let's not dream the projections must be educated guesses. So you must put in a hypothesis that makes sense and say, this is what we are going to do here. And this is based on a 5-year trend, one. But you then say, in the past 5 years, this school, I don't know the schools there, Karabo is out, in Velcom, would have been producing at this rate. At this time, they are no longer producing at this rate, so the projection might not, the trend might not be an accurate projection. So you can't just put numbers and then you say, that is why in February we must hire part-time lecturers for a year. Okay, let's assume your argument is correct. There's a trend that every year for the past 3 years, you had to get temporary staff, 40 of them in Velcom. I'm making an example. 6 in each faculty. Why, when you make plans for the following year now, in year 4, don't you say, let's rather hire full-time people? Because the trend then says to you, this is the issues that you are getting.
Okay. Let me first address the issue of actuals. Remember, when we have got quotas, we agree that this faculty is going to take so many students, okay? Or Velcom is going to take so many, Implement take so many. But when the students apply, then we admit them. We'll find that maybe the program that they applied for, as we planned, are full. The quotas are full. Then you have to, don't send them back. You give them options to enroll for other programs. So then students are moving around. So to have the actual figure is only when the students are fully registered. Otherwise, we move them around to say, okay, this program is full. you can move to another program, and then so on and so on and so forth. And
Yeah, you are not the only institution with different. I went to UKZN. It has 5 campuses, 3 of them in close proximity. 2 of them literally serving the same constituencies, Howard College and Westville. Not far from it is medical school, but it's a different constituency. Not far from that is Edgewood with education. But the point that you are trying to sell to me, we don't have that problem there. You don't have that problem here at UJ, where again close proximity. So, what do you? It's an excuse. It's a VC. It's a leadership problem. You can simply say, if this continues, you can simply say, Welcome Campus is only going to offer 3 faculties or 2 faculties. Then you know you plan on what you are going to have. And then 4 faculties will be in Bloemfontein. If they are competing, if you are saying offering engineering in both campuses creates an anomaly that you want to make normal to us, then I'm still going to say that it's poor planning, because you could have said, we can't continue to have more part-timers than full, because students said to you when they were presenting, these part-timers, they want to be settled. They are applying everywhere. If they get an opportunity to go lecture somewhere, they in fact on the application they say available immediately. That time they leave, they are supposed to submit scripts of students. It's an anomaly you can't want to defend. It's something that, leave it DVC. We're not going to help us. CFO, you have your student debt of about 2.5 billion. Is NSFAS, or is this 2.5 billion, do we have those that are part of this student debt that are NSFAS students? Yeah, put the mic first.
Yes, Chair, it's included in NSFAS 1 billion.
Oh, NSFAS owes you 1 billion.
1 billion, yes.
That is that the closeout project billion or just
The close-out one, yes.
okay? So and that is a separate matter. So on the 1.5 billion, it's just private students.
Yes, that's a private student.
How far are you with the NSFAS on this 1 billion?
So far, we did some exchange of data. Also, the NSFAS, we agreed on the close-out in terms of the exchange of the data validations. Now it's busy. They are busy now, NSFAS, with the SIU and AGSA. Maybe NSFAS, maybe just to update what is the status in terms of that. We are cooperating. We submitted all the documents that they requested.
Yeah, you don't give NSFAS to speak. This is still our meeting. VC, do you hold certificates of students, private and otherwise, who owe the institution money? Do you hold the certificates, the degrees?
Yes, Chair. There's the AODs.
So when you have withhold the certificate, what do you do for students to be marketable?
So they would be given a letter of completion just to prove that they have finished, but that doesn't seem to be enough. So that's why we are consistently looking for more support in terms of payment of historic debt.
Okay, so you don't give transcripts to students when they owe, so that they can be able to find employment, so that they can be economically active, so that they can then be able to be economically viable to pay back their debt.
I think the reg will say exactly what we give, because I call it completion later, but in terms of transcripts, if there's a
Okay.
specimen that gets sent
Yeah,
first. Yes.
Doctor.
If I may.
Chairperson, we do give a certificate of completion, and we further even encourage students with historical debt to contact us if they've got job opportunities. That way we can even liaise to confirm if they are degree complete. And as far as I know, we do issue a transcript because it would not have a withhold status, but it will just be the certificate. But I'll just have to circle back on that one just shortly.
Okay. That completion certificate we were talking about earlier on, of that student that took you to court. Take us through, in that case, what happened, why did the institution, because it defeats the purpose of what you want to achieve. What you want to achieve is that you want students to be able to pay you. You don't want, I don't think there's any university that wants to hold a certificate that's full of hole. You want to give them, you want them to pay you so that you can release them. That's the point. But then if you don't give the certificates of completion, that defeats the purpose. So take us through what would have happened in that case of that guy or girl Mbele. Yeah.
Chair, each case has got merits. So when I've reviewed a number of issues that ended up at litigation, most of them would have started where there would have been historical cases where marks were not entered onto the system. Ultimately, when you calculate a degree complete to make sure that the student qualifies for the qualification that they're going to be conferred, and then you find that there's missing qualification. And I think this can be parallel to what we have just discussed, Chair, wherein we found cases where some of the marks were not available because either staff members would have left the employ of CUT. But what we have done is we've worked closely with the faculty to give us confirmation that actually those marks have been those exams have been taken or subjects have been qualified, and with that verification we would then enter that space. So it has been a process of cleanup, Chair. I think a year ago Senate made a resolution that we must clean up all the historic marks. So some of the students would not have come at the time when that was open. But when we do get such cases, we coordinate with the faculties, and if faculties give us that confirmation, we process the marks, Chair, and then subject those to further processing where Senate will then approve or ratify the degree. So there are a lot of merits to respective cases, and each one differs depending on where it is. What I also found is that during the recalculation process, there would have been other students that did not form part of the moving to the new qualifications. Subsequently, they would have been left out. And so in a number of cases, we would have to go back and say, can we have verification of this? And a number of times, the faculties can give us that information and we proceed. We had delays, Chair, where we would not have some formal type of verification whether the assessment was taken or not taken, and that would delay the confirmation. Remember, once we do the auditing of a degree complete, all the credits must be on the system, and we need to make sure that the credits that are required for the specific qualifications are met. So there are a lot of different cases, but historically we are trying to push all of those out together with the faculty, Chair.